Tara Omatosho, and this is Inspiring into Action, where we motivate women to start moving. Today we are interviewing Fredricia Cunegin. Fredricia, how are you doing this evening?
I'm outstanding, Tara. How are you?
I'm doing good. Miss Cunningham, could you tell us about who you are and what you do and what business that you run?
My pleasure. First of all, thank you so very much for the opportunity to have this conversation with you. It is really an opportunity, as I see it, to connect with you as you launch your huge dream and vision to connect and assist and support other women. So thank you.
Thank
I
you.
am the very proud owner, founder, and CEO of HRinMotion, LLC. We are a full-service human resources consulting firm. What we do, we partner with chief executive officers to assist them by educating and really making them aware of the benefit of expanding their labor force and or human capital management through productivity performance, and by educating them how best to use the benefits of their strengths and their assets to strengthen their organization's bottom line. We
Okay.
do that through business development, training and development, and specifically staffing human resources consulting services.
Okay.
Professional.
Okay. How did you get started into how did this business come about?
Well, 2005, I
Mm-hmm.
reached my goal, which was to work at a very large hospital in the DMV. When
Mm-hmm.
I got that job, in my mind, I was going to retire from that job. However, in April 2005, my position was eliminated. My former employer said, "Hey, my nickname is Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay, but we're going to demote you back to the position you were promoted from and
Mm-hmm.
reduce your salary by $5,000."
Wow.
Like, no, that doesn't compute.
No.
So I knew what I wanted to do. Went home and talked to hubby. He was in agreement. Went back and I negotiated a severance package, and I closed that chapter.
Mm.
Then I was like, what am I going to do? I didn't really have the drive to immediately start sourcing for another HR management opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to pray
Mm-hmm.
and inquire what it was I was supposed to do. I inquired of the Lord, what am I supposed to do next? Sitting in my home office one night, and I received the name of the company, HRinMotion.
Mm-hmm.
I turned around to my computer and began to type the mission statement.
Wow.
That's how we got started.
Wow.
The next morning, I shared with my husband what I received, and in October of that year, we met with our attorney. He did all of the specific legwork, and HRinMotion LLC existed. That's how we got started.
Wow. A lot of times I've talked with a lot of women, and that's how they started in their business, where one door closed and then another door opened, and it became an opportunity for them to start their own business. And had that door not closed,
Yeah,
they might not have started the other opportunities. Is that how you find yourself?
absolutely. That is for sure. I never, and you know what's hilarious? I remember years ago saying to a group of women that my goal was to become a consultant, an HR consultant.
Mm.
I said it, but I didn't know the depth of that statement.
Right.
So, but you're right. If that door had not shut, there was no burn, there was no drive to take the leap that I took.
Yeah. Yeah, it's either people are driven by pleasure or pain, either the pleasure of tomorrow or the pain of the current situation. So,
Right.
and it wasn't like you were in any pain, but it was like, I don't think I want to go and do this for someone else. Let's
Yep,
try this on my own.
exactly.
And
Well,
that's
interestingly enough, I did go. I started the company, but there was a necessity that I didn't realize was necessary. I was able to I worked for another company, but this time it was an African American owned, woman owned business. I could not understand for the life of me in the big picture why that opportunity presented itself to me, but it had everything to do with The exposure of being a woman in business at the C-suite level,
Yeah.
and to watch it happen before me with integrity and character. That was the purpose for that side opportunity, if you will. From there, I went full time in business.
Yeah, and that's how you have to see sometimes those side opportunities. Even if a woman is out there and you are not able to step out in your own business at this time, take advantage of the opportunities that are available to you, maybe at your job, or people that you meet, the networking during the day when you're somewhere. Take opportunity of those, because that can lead into other consulting gigs on the side, or just more exposure on how you should present your business when you do step out there. Is that what you
Absolutely.
found?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every opportunities are not necessarily in plain sight, but they exist.
Yes.
So in our decision to do something different, once we decide to do something different, or once we decide to answer the call, that the tug that we're pulling, or we feel, if you will, then opportunities will become clearer as they present themselves.
That is what I have found as well. That's what I found as well. So I guess you would say that what inspired you, well, I don't know if I would say, but what inspired you is that this other this situation closed, and then the opportunity to start your own business open. What caused you to even get involved in HR in the beginning?
Ooh, I started in HR management in the late 80s, and
Mhm.
I started it at my father's church.
Wow.
I was the executive administrator at my dad's church in the late 80s, and I did the policies and procedures, the job descriptions. I took care of the hiring and the coaching. I was doing human resource management without really understanding that's what I was doing.
Mm, mm.
And then I went back to school. And when I went back to school, I went back to school for HR management. So my before education coupled with the education and moving forward with proper training and exposure, it just it ignited my connection with people. I naturally connect with people.
Mhm.
So when I went, just got the practical piece of it, or the theory piece of it, so I could put the theory and the practical and myself, because I'm the core of
Yes.
HRinMotion from the perspective of what only I can bring, no
Yes.
one else can bring. So it caused me to ignite in a profession that allows me to blossom.
Do you feel that you've always been called to be in that capacity, or do you think that you'll branch off to some other things? Like, what other things interest you?
I love to teach. It's a function of human resource management. So I do a lot of facilitating and training and development, soft skill training for the district government. I was awarded my first sole source award for federal government last year. So I'll be doing a training class in July for USDA.
Okay,
And I
great.
am now pursuing some other opportunities here in the, well, actually at the federal level. And so in the very soon, not far off, I'll be announcing some other federal opportunities that we will be awarded to HRinMotion, because I love the training and development piece. I love to teach.
Yes. I have heard you teach before. You are a very good teacher.
Uh, Thank you.
So, what are some things that, what are some challenges that you have found? Because you've been in business for how long?
I've been in business full time since 2009. My company has existed since 2005.
So, in that time span, what are some challenges that you have faced, and how could you share with the listeners on things that they can do to avoid some of those things that you have came against?
That is a really, really good question. Let me see. Can I narrow it down?
It hasn't been that bad, has
Woo!
it? I know. It's just it's the cost of sometimes doing business.
It is. It is the cost of doing business. So, the very first thing that we have to understand as women is the difference between being emotionally driven and being driven by a non-emotional focal point to be successful. Because it's not even about our emotions.
Yes.
They count, but they can't be at the helm. We cannot be emotionally driven. If you are emotionally driven in the marketplace, you cannot be focused and you won't be as successful as you're destined to be because you're being driven by the wrong tool. In the marketplace, you've got to know what you need to know to be successful. Now, let me qualify that, because women, we get lost in thinking we have to know every single solitary thing before we take the leap. That's not even realistic. It doesn't happen that way. You learn more on the way than you do before you start.
Yes.
But you got to have at least the core structure in your heart and be prepared to move away from the place of comfort.
Yes.
If you don't move, you will never experience all of the totality that's in you. You got to move. You got to jump.
Yes, you do. You really do. And a lot of times the barrier that you see is all in your mind. It's not really real. It's not real at all. It's just that fear that's blocking you from stepping out and doing what God has really called you to do.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, if you jumped, then you would see that there's all these other opportunities out there available for you. But if you just stay on your side and you just have things written down and you take no action, you're always going to be asking yourself, well, what if I would have done that? You know, where could I have been? Or what could this vision or dream or book or whatever it is that you are called to do, what could it have been if I decided to do it? So
absolutely, you got to jump. You have to jump, because you will be astonished how your dream will grow. It will not remain based on your initial ideas or your dreams or your desires. It's going to grow. It's going to expand. Other opportunities will present themselves. Your ideas will grow. You won't be afraid to try things. And from taking the step of trying something, another idea will exist. It will be created.
yes.
It will just grow. The business will grow if you jump.
Yes. And also, like you mentioned earlier, you know, a lot of women, we think we have to know everything in order to start. But if you start, a lot of those tools, those people, persons will be matched up with you and you'll be able to continue rolling. But if you don't ever start, you won't meet those people. You won't meet those opportunities. I mean, God will bring people alongside of you to do this for you and do that for you. You're like, wow, this would have never happened if I didn't start. Exactly. Do you find that to happen to you?
Absolutely the truth. That is so true. It is so true. Even with setbacks, you learn how much information to share and with whom. You will learn when it is appropriate to connect with certain people. You'll learn not to be so eager. You'll learn not to sound and look like you're green, even though you may be.
Yes.
No one will need to know that. When I went and worked with the African American business owner, I'll never forget the first lesson she taught me. Her company is a title company. She's very successful here in the DMV area. And I had never done title processing before. And she took me in her office before my first settlement. And she said, no one in that room knows that you've never done this before. And it is up to you to go in there and take command as if you have.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Good. A lot of times we show our cards before they need to be shown.
Yes, yes.
And to, like you said, to the wrong people too, because like she knew that it was your first time, but the people behind the desk, they didn't know that it was your first time.
No.
And that's what I tell a lot of people who we coach with, whether they want to be speakers or whatever. People don't know what information you know.
Right.
So just sound like you know what you know. Act like, you know, rehearse. And when you, as much as you rehearse, then you'll be like, wow, I really do know. And they're going to be like, wow, you know so much information. That was so good.
Yes, yes.
Is that what the people said after you came out of that meeting?
No, they did not. It was clear. I did not know what I was doing.
But you faked it till you made it.
I did. I went back another time. I got back up. They were patient with me.
Yes,
They were
yeah.
patient with me. And
a lot of time people are gracious. They are very gracious.
They are. They were very gracious. And I got better.
Yes.
I got a lot better.
Because you tried again. You didn't stop. You kept pushing.
I kept pushing. Yeah.
You kept pushing. And so that's very important, because oftentimes, you know, people, I think it's in general with just our generation, or this generation right here, or just this era, that we want it fast and hurry. So if it doesn't work out the first time, then we're ready to quit and, you know, leave, when we should continue, persevere until that dream or vision comes through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a wonderful thing to see a dream, or see your dream or your vision grow. We have to learn how to celebrate every small step.
Yes.
We cannot wait until we get to what we deem the ultimate. Every step is important. Every success is important. And we have to be okay with that.
Yeah, you do. You do. And you have to celebrate those increments when you're going up, or you're just, you know, where it may not seem, like you said, like you're at the top, but those improvements, you have to celebrate that.
Absolutely.
So what has been the hardest thing that you have experienced in starting your business? Was it the paperwork? Has it been the people, the getting the clients? What has been one of the difficulties that you would say that you've experienced?
Let's see. Learning how to properly market the company. Learning what language to use. So, interestingly enough, you might think that it's what's necessary for you to talk about your company and what you offer and what you can do. But really, what you need to do is find out what your client needs. You need to know what their problems are, because they will pay for your services if you can ratify a problem.
Right.
They don't need your service if they don't have a problem.
That's true.
So you need to first find out or learn how to market your company, because I didn't do that right the first time. I was talking about HRinMotion. Nobody wanted to hear that. I needed to listen to the client. The second biggest challenge was educating, being patient with the necessary steps of educating and coaching CEOs, because they're the decision makers. So being willing to connect with them. So you have to build relationships with consistency, being willing to walk those proper steps in order to close the deal.
That's good information, because you do have to know what your client wants in order to fulfill the needs.
You do.
And the only way that you'll know is by asking questions and listening, and knowing where your company can meet them. And maybe if you don't know if your company can meet them, maybe you know someone that can partner with you to meet them. Found that?
That has been extremely helpful. As a matter of fact, there is literature today that definitely supports small businesses collaborating. It gives strength, it gives fortitude, it gives creativity, it expounds on creativity, partnership, synergy, and collaboration. So it is definitely a strong and smart strategic plan.
Yeah, that's one of the goals of Inspire into Action, is to assist with current business owners in how to partner up. By maybe someone, you know, one of the listeners has some type of business, and they're listening to this interview, and they're like, wow, I would really like to talk to her more. You know, that person might have never have heard of your company had they not have heard this interview. So it is really important for us to network with each other, to assist each other, to help each other, whether it may not be anything profitable, but it might just be a conversation, a lunch where we're able to impart wisdom to each other, where there's a lot of takeaways from that meeting.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I 100%
To
agree.
read up on and research, and like you said, to expand your vocabulary, because when you are in different arenas, you need to know how to talk, how to present yourself, and those things do take practice. So practice at home. Women, you're listening to this and you're ready to go out on in a networking environment. Practice your speech. Yeah, everyone should have an elevator speech. Like what, like 1 minute on introducing yourself to people, because you need to be able to show them your value that you add to the conversation or maybe to their business. Do you have an elevator speech?
I do have an elevator speech.
All right, all right. You want to share it with us?
Sure.
Great.
So I am on the elevator with you.
Yes.
Okay, so I always get on the elevator and say, excellent morning. I always speak and I wait for a response and I listen for a cue. You're going to say something that gives me a spark about introducing my business. So then I say to you, hey, listen, did you mention anything about being in business? Are you in this building? I know that you have the flexibility of hiring, growing, coaching, and developing people. Listen, here's my business card. And the only reason why I am giving it to you before you ask for it is because while you may not need it today, you are going to get to a place that your business is going to be in need of human resource management services. HRinMotion, LLC, keep us in mind. Have a great day.
That's good. That's good. Because you are right. Everyone, whether you are small right now, you need to be thinking forward. And that's where your business comes right there to mind.
That's right.
Yes, because people may not think that they're ready for HR, but by you talking with them, you can share with them how they really need your services.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's really good. That's really good. What are 3 skills that you think an entrepreneur needs to have in this day and age?
You have to be a risk taker. You have to be creative. And you have to be focused. There's another one though. You have to be disciplined. You got to really be disciplined.
Yeah. Yeah. You do. You have to have good time management skills, because there's a lot of things that will come up that will get you off course. But if they get you off course, you got to be able to come back. Now, share with me like the creative. What do you mean by creative?
As a business owner, you will not be able to do everything, but you have to learn how sometimes to barter. So you meet another business owner who has a service that you need, and they need your service. You will build rapport, you will build a connection, a relationship that works best for you and that business owner, and be willing to barter. You give them your services in exchange for theirs. Yes. That's a form of creativity when you're in a building stage of your business.
You're right. You're right. That's a good way to be creative in, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Only thing I suggest that if you're going to do a bartering system, make sure it is written up in a contract so that everyone knows what the outcomes of the relationship are intended to be, and that everyone's clear, on what I'm getting and what I'm giving and what I'm getting and what I'll be getting.
And how long?
How long? And yes, a time frame. Yes, it's so important. It's so important. What are 3 things, or if you know more than 3 things, if someone was ready to take action today, maybe they're not interested in doing an HR company, but maybe they are. What are some 3 things or 4 things or some things that they can take away from this conversation that would help them to propel their business or start their business right now?
Find a great attorney. You need to have legal counsel to ensure that all of the ducks in a row, those that you know about, those that you think you know about, are appropriate per the state in which you are establishing your business. Number 1. Number 2, you need to understand your competition. Now, some people may say that doesn't matter. Well, it gives you a framework of who is in your space, so to speak. Do you have competition within 30 miles? or 50 miles or 100 miles from where you are, whether you have a home-based business or you have brick and mortar. So know your competition. And number three, know your audience. Who needs your services? And what sets you apart from the competition?
So what sets you apart from the competition?
Me. I set you apart.
I know that's right.
It's true.
No, you're right. When you're dealing with the company, a lot of times it is the individual that sets them apart. Now, when you are hiring people, how do you communicate your business through that person? Because like you're not the actual one going on site to do some of the HR items, are you? Or sometimes
Actually,
you are, or do you hire people? How does that work?
so it could be one or the other. I started out that I was everything, but actually this year, I am currently interviewing right now for HR generalist for a recent awarded contract for HRinMotion. So I'm getting ready to place my first HR generalist for a new contract.
That's great.
It is great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's good because that means that you're moving up. You're moving up. You are sort of outsourcing, or you're hiring people. You're creating jobs for other people.
Yeah,
that's really great.
Yeah.
How is that process going for you?
It's going well. Actually, I've gotten great responses. I had 2 great interviews today. Got some more interviews coming down the pipe. I have excellent subject matter experts. So I have a panel of colleagues. Once I have determined the minimum 3, then I have a panel of colleagues who have agreed to actually come behind me and conduct a panel interview. So I have pulled on some experts in the industry who are going to help me to execute the right person.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, whether they look, maybe they want to get more information about your business, maybe they're interested in teaming up with you, how would they get in contact with you?
My website is www.HRinMotionLLC.com. Or one may contact my office, which is my contact number is 240-838-7142.
Okay. All right, great. Well, thank you. I pray that everyone that listens to this interview gets a lot of information. I know we covered a lot of things, and it was really good content. So I appreciate all the words of wisdom, the jewels that you shared during this interview. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you. So my pleasure. So my pleasure.
All right.